Hi everybody, welcome back to Donica and Shelby Reads. My name is Shelby. It's Hunger Games May here on our channel. So I want to go ahead and get into the content of this video, which, as you may or may not know, is that me and my sister are reading the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. My sister has read through the trilogy before. She was an OG. She read the series when it first came out, heartily awaiting the movies, and I don't know if heartily is the right word for that. I am totally new to Hunger Games. I had never read a book. I found out that I had actually never seen a movie. Because this is our live thoughts, reactions, there will be spoilers in this video. So go find the book in your local library or on Kindle or who knows where you find it, but find it, read it, and then come back and join us and we can talk together about what we thought about the book. And the next time I'll see you will be in my first check-in. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to my sister. She'll give you her thoughts, she'll introduce herself, and let's get this thing rolling. Boop.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Hunger Games May. So as I left off in the last episode, after that video I ended up talking to Shelby because she watched part of the movie. I'm not sure if she's even going to talk about it. I was ranting and raving about the casting, how much I love the casting, how much I love the movie. And Shelby, who is my polar opposite, her vision of the characters and different circumstances were a lot different than the movie, where mine was pretty cut and dry. Even though as I'm reading the second book, Catching Fire, Katniss does say again, me and Gale, because they're cousins at this point, you know, pretend cousins, her and Gale have the same straight dark hair. In the movie, obviously Katniss has like a wavy hair, olive skin, gray eyes. So I can see where she's coming from. I'm curious to know what I thought of the characters 10 years ago, what I envisioned. Either way, I'm envisioning what they cast and I love it. But it's just funny that me and Shelby are so different. So this book, I do not remember near as much as I did the first book. It's so good and I truly am almost reading it like for the first time because my memory is so bad. They're going on their victory tour. The relationships between Peeta and Katniss and Gale and Katniss are very strained. This is like the ultimate love triangle. The love triangles of all love triangles. They go on their victory tour about 6 months after they win the Hunger Games because they want to keep the memory fresh in everyone's mind, or the pain fresh. And then not long after that you have the next Hunger Games. So the Hunger Games in this book is the Quarter Quell. So Quarter Quell. What is it? Quarter Quell. So in the 50th games you learn that Haymitch, their mentor, that's when he won, and every 25 years they do something special or read that more hideous, more nefarious. So in the 50th they had double the tributes, so Haymitch had to win over 48 other or 47 other tributes. I will leave off this little thought by mine with a quote gem from Gracie Say. I don't know, some lines just hit you, especially when I'm reading this book. Gracie Say says to Katniss, "You've got to go through it to get to the end of it."
Hello everyone. So I know that the lighting is not that good, the setup is kind of bad. I wasn't even planning on filming today. The book got way too intense and I couldn't keep reading. I had no choice but to sit down and film today and talk a little bit about what's going on. Straight from the beginning, everything that I wanted starts happening. So within the first few chapters, we already kind of know there is tension between Peeta and Katniss and Gale of course is very disturbed by what he saw on TV with the Hunger Games, and I'm sorry to this man, but is not my Peeta. I'm sorry, I picture a totally different person. We're already seeing more that Gale and Katniss, of course, are sensing a distance growing between them, of course, because Gale hates everything about the Capitol and Katniss is now forced to appease the Capitol. And Peeta, I think, is the most rational character right now because him and Katniss are obviously still going through trauma from the games. Even though it's obvious that Gale loves Katniss, he even says in the book, he tells Katniss he loves her and he would run away with her, you know, before. But there is a rift between them. I can see now, I'm in like some of the later chapters. I think I'm about to go into chapter 14 or 15, and you can just tell that Peeta and Katniss, they just have that shared experience to build their relationship on. How could anyone reading this book not be Team Peeta at this point? It's just really hard because Peeta's characteristics are like my favorite characteristics in another human being. Awesomely enough, what I was really hoping for after reading the first book, we were gonna get more into like the politics and the power dynamics of the capital versus the districts. And in the first book, someone brought up District 13, and Katniss said something in the first book like, oh yeah, but that place has always been destroyed and I never really think about it. That was probably nothing like what she said in the book, but she said something to that effect, and I remember thinking, District 13 is probably going to come up in the future. What if there's something like not right about that? And it just got confirmed in the second book that now Katniss found those renegade runaways from District 8, I think. They were trying to escape to District 13. I love the almost like creepy lore surrounding District 13. Now I know President Snow. It is so creepy that President Snow smells like blood all the time, and Katniss is like, what does he do? Like drink blood? Just the thought of District 13 coming into this and like what part they could play. Like if they really do have like nuclear weapons, probably the most powerful moment of the book so far. And it's when they are in District 11, Ruse District, and the crowd is just silent, and then Katniss works up the courage to kind of like blurt out this speech. And after that, an elderly man in the back does Rue's whistle, and then the whole district does the District 12 thing, and I did cry.
I've been loving every single chapter in this book. I just don't understand how some authors can write so much in so little. It blows my mind. Like, I have noticed that there are so many small moments in this book that are so impactful, like visually. For instance, the old man raising his hand and like whistling when they were in District 11, Ruse District, on the victory tour. That moment, it's so powerful. Like, I could just envision it. And then him being killed. It's just so much is said in so little words, pages. Like, I don't know how she does it. It was crazy, like, reading about District 11 and how harsh their conditions are. And that's coming from Katniss's perspective of a district that is a coal mining district. I mean, it's a very run down. Everyone's always dirty. No one has enough food to eat. And so for her to go to District 11 and see how bad the conditions are, and then just like the shanties or shacks they live in. Effie is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters. I don't feel like I've had this fondness for her. I think maybe by the third book I was viewing her different, but I don't think I had this much fondness for her on my first read. I love Effie, maybe because I'm older. I just see myself in her. How Katniss is so annoyed with her always being punctual, and her schedules are so important. She's always on time. Realizes I'm Effie. That's another character that I think it's interesting while you're reading. She's slowly, very slowly, but surely becoming more self-aware, especially dealing with the winners, and now she's more in it. So after, I think, Katniss's speech, she realizes that she's kind of screwed. That her with the berries was way more powerful and started the uprising that everyone so desperately wanted. There's a quote that said, "No show of love, however believable, will turn this tide." If my holding out those berries was an act of temporary insanity, then these people will embrace insanity too. They're just grasping for anything. This is their last chance. For a lot of these people, they're fed up.
Oh my goodness, how could I not talk about the big bombshell? It was like, bye everyone, that's what I think about Peeta. I forgot to talk about, for this, what is it called, like a quarterly quell? So, every district, their pool of who can go are winners from past Hunger Games. So, let me just say, this is amazing, because if they want to do an uprising, the best thing they could do is have Katniss in that arena. If this is just going to be like societal warfare, or if we're going to actually see them in the arena, I am so intrigued. I have no clue what to expect, but I do know that I'm just excited to see who's on what side, because right now it really could be that there are some rebels in the capital. I can just see Katniss feel so many complex emotions, but she just has to keep trudging through, which is a very iconic line from at the very beginning. I think Greasy Say says it, maybe. I'll have to look up who says it, but They say to get to the end of it, you have to go through it. Something to that effect. I'll look up the quote and I'll put, unless something absolutely astronomical happens, I'll see you tomorrow.
These last couple chapters have revolved heavily around the internal conflict that Katniss is going through about what to do. She's realized that the districts are starting to do like an uprising. I mean, it's fight or flight. And the first instinct generally is to flee, which she wants to do. She approaches both Gale and Peeta separately. She approaches Gale and Gale's like, all for it. Even when she mentions Peeta, he's like, fine, but then she lets it slip. There's an uprising starting, at least in District 8, and so Gale's a fighter, so he's like, how are you gonna flee when there's potential to change our lives? Not just our lives, but everyone else's lives. So Gale's like, I'm out. And so then she goes to Peeta. I think I'm Team Peeta. I just can't help but be Team Peeta. He's like, I'll run away with you, but I know you're not gonna run away. Especially when he hears Gale's not going. They send in a new peacekeeper, and his name is Romulus Thread. Big time a-hole. Gale is whipped, and when she flings herself in front of him and takes the lash on the face, I remember reading the first time and I was like, if Gale dies here, I die here. That's kind of what makes Katniss realize this is only the beginning. My district is going to suffer. Everyone's going to suffer. There's a quote in, I think, chapter 7 where it's talking about the Mockingjay, and it says, Mockingjay is a creature the capital never intended to exist, but they hadn't anticipated its will to live. Everyone that wears the pin, it becomes the symbol of the rebellion. When you're privileged, when you're way above, up in the clouds, above everyone else, yeah, it's easy to forget or think the little people won't ever reach you. But together, I'm gonna try to do a rundown of the characters we meet. Not like just a brief rundown, because I have forgotten everyone but the old lady, and yeah, just everyone. We are now getting deeper into Katniss's rebellion. She's accepted she's going to fight. So now we're seeing her justify it, which is what I talked about in the last video, the interview with Suzanne Collins, where her whole thing was the just war theory. So she's basically thinking, and you can see her come to the conclusion that yes, waging war is necessary because of Rue and her sister Prim. Prim is going to be a pawn. It just makes her so distraught. But then she thinks, wait a second, Prim's father, our father, got ripped away from her in the mines. She's been half starved. She had to watch me fight and kill and murder and almost die in the games. That is her justification. Also, we meet Bonnie and Twill, which I hope we see them again in the future, like make it to District 13. Before District 13 got wiped out, they were in charge of nuclear development, so that's kind of why they think maybe the capital is like leaving them alone. But it also raises the question, what are they up to? For 75 years, they haven't helped anybody. What have they been up to? So the 75th Quell, the tagline for the Quell is, it's a reminder that even the strongest among the districts cannot overpower the power of the capital. They were talking about Peeta, and when they heard that the 75th Quell would be them going back, or at least Katniss, and she knew Peeta would go in for Haymitch. Katniss ran until she couldn't run no more. When she finally made it back to Haymitch, Haymitch had said Peeta had come directly to his house and was like, look, I'm going in for you. We're gonna protect her. So he tells her, you could live 100 lifetimes and not deserve him. So it's at that moment that they decided between Haymitch and Katniss, we're gonna save him. Like, there's no you choosing me over him. Like, that ship has sailed. Promise me that we are going to save Peeta no matter what. Meanwhile, Peeta has like turned. He's now like a drill instructor, and so his whole demeanor has changed. We're getting Katniss out of here. Meanwhile, he's not in the loop that they're all trying to save him, which I'm sure is gonna just make him so furious. Some of these people I remember, some of them I remember from the movie a little bit. We did get a couple names for people who tributes for this next Hunger Games. So from District 1, there's a brother and a sister. They won in consecutive years. So District 2 is Brutus. He's in his 40s. He volunteered, so he looks like he's ready for a fight. Then District 4, we have Finnick and Mags. She's 80. She was Finnick's mentor. So from District 7, we have Johanna Mason. and she's the one that pretended to be weak. Then from District 8, we have Cecilia, and it said that there was 3 little kids around her. The last one that they mentioned, these are probably going to be some of the main people, was Chaff, and he's from District 11. He was a friend of Haymitch. They're on the train, headed to the capital, getting ready to go into the Quell. They're watching Haymitch's win for the 50th Hunger Games, which was the second time they had the Quarter Quell. The tape helps ease a lot of Katniss's thoughts or fears for Haymitch. He caused the capital a little bit of trouble too when he won, because he did it in his own way as well, and they kind of had to spin it in a different way. And she actually says, surely 2 people who have caused the capital so much trouble can think of a way to get Peeta home alive. Plutarch Heavensby is the new head gamekeeper, and I'm pretty sure he's part of the resistance, kind of infiltrate his way, made it to head gamekeeper, and that's going to be, I think, Katniss's salvation, possibly, in the games. I can't quite remember. I really haven't gotten too emotional in this book. Like, I feel like the first book I was crying a lot or getting teary-eyed, not really full-on crying. The only time I full-on cried was with Rue. But this last part, I got teary-eyed because her glam squad, they're so superficial. When they first see her and they're getting her ready for her interviews and stuff, they're just crying and she can barely take it. So she tells Cinna, can you please tell them to, like, keep it together? I can't deal with this. So he does tell them. So the next time she sees her glam squad, one starts crying and they're like, you know what Cinna said, so one leaves. And then the second one has to leave. And finally, only Venia remains and does everything, hair, makeup, everything. She holds it together. At the very end, she just looks at her, just basically tells her what a privilege it's been to work with her. That made me tear up because I think this is like a good representation of what the capital is going through right now. President Snow is trying to send a message to the districts, but I think it's backfiring because now even the capital citizens are like, this is kind of crossing a line even for us. Chapter 17 ended with Cinna, who he knows what he's getting into. I think when he signed up for District 12, he knew exactly what he was going to try and do. He's clearly part of his own personal resistance to the capital. During her big interview, President Snow makes her wear her wedding dress. So she twirls and it just completely goes up in flames. And what's left of her is a dress that makes her look like a mockingjay. So the end is nigh for Cinna. And then we move on to Mockingjay. We're gonna move on to that book next. I'm super excited. And we are T-minus, I don't know how many days, but what day are we on? Hey Siri, what day is it?
It's Saturday, May 16th, 2020.
The book comes out in 3 days. So excited. Shelby is as invested in these books now as me.
Hello everyone, alas, I'm on the floor again. It's actually the same day that I filmed the intro, but I got a little comfier. It's because when I do these book talks, I just like being comfy and talking to y'all. And now I see why YouTubers film on the floor sometimes when they're sad, because it's very comfortable down here. I'm 85% through the book and I knew I had to stop. I was like, no, I have to check in, I have to film because I feel like something bad is about to happen, guys. Here's my conditions. I'm not reading the 3rd book if something happens to Peeta. That's it. He is going above and beyond my expectations in the second half of the book. Do you hear the things he's saying to her in the arena? How much he loves her and he doesn't want to lose her and he can't even live his life without her? This is what I live for. I'm 85% way through the book, and let me just say, I had no clue there was going to be a second games in the second book. I thought it was going to be all about politics. I didn't know Katniss was going to be back in that arena. Honestly, up until the moment she was like rising into the arena, I legitimately thought something was going to stop her from going in there again. I was like, there's no way this poor girl's going to have to go into the games again. And a mystery. Why are people helping out Peeta in the arena? It's just so weird. It has to do something with the uprising, which even Katniss kind of is picking up on. First of all, I low-key wanted Finnick. Come on, Finnick. Come on. You're invited to the love square. I feel like I'm probably annoying when it comes to romance aspects of books. I'm sorry. This is just the way that I am. And I think the games this time are... I feel bad saying this, but they're a lot more interesting than the last book. And the fact that they're in this clock and every section of the clock has a different horror in it at a different time. Like Suzanne Collins, she has the mind of a mastermind. If a book is not very setting heavy, it's really dialogue and thoughts and inner world. Y'all know I love that. I could go a whole book and not know where the character is if they are having a really good internal monologue with themselves. I can do it. but I also love lush settings, and Suzanne Collins is amazing at making me visualize this. I visualize the island, I visualize the jungle, I can see these characters, which, by the way, I looked up Finnick and I was like, okay, that's about right. That's about right. And are we gonna ignore, every single time I'm in the book and I read that Katniss and the people from the seam have olive skin, am I the only one who's a little annoyed that there is no touch of olive in anyone from the... I don't know about that. Every time I see the word olive skin from the seam, I'm like, come on. My point is... Oh, something that came up earlier in the book is that Haymitch, when he was in the games, he used the force field against the Capitol almost. Like, he found the end of the force field. He found the edge of the arena. And I wonder if something like that's going to happen with Katniss and Peeta and the gang. Honestly, I want the whole gang to survive. I wanted every tribute to not fight each other and stand up against the Capitol. But of course, like Finnick did say in the book, like, really, you thought that they were just going to, like, hold hands and, like... Anyways, I think that's all of my thoughts for now. I had to pause after this last chapter I read because I just knew. I was like, if there's going to be if a bombshell has not happened yet, it's about to happen, and I need to sit down and share my happy thoughts, because if anything bad happens in this last run of the book, well, I might have to end Hunger Games May a little early. So
during the interviews, Caesar and Peeta need their own talk show at this point. Peeta decides to drop the bombshell that him and Katniss are unofficially married, and then he is like, well, it would be nice except for the baby. And then everyone's like, ah! Before she goes up in her tube up to the games, Cinna tells her, remember, girl on fire, I'm still betting on you. Cinna, I love you so much. And then 2 peacekeepers come in and beat the crap out of Cinna right as she's going up to start the games. And then she gets up the tube and they see she's like cannot fully grasp what she's seeing. And so she's just surrounded by ocean. What a cool concept. I swear Suzanne Collins is a mastermind.
She has the mind of a mastermind.
Because she has these games, they're so, like, just unexpected. Hi!
Hey baby, sorry I didn't know you were here.
It's okay, I'm almost say one more but don't let it happen again. The ending of chapter 21, we have the female morphling. Peeta's about to get attacked by a howler monkey, and she jumps in front of him and takes the brunt of it and saves Peeta. I'm trying to remember, but my main question at this point is, why are they trying to save Peeta? Is it obviously Haymitch has done something, and I kind of like vaguely in my mind remember. Why is Katniss always in the dark, first of all? Because that means we're in the dark. But also one thing that I kind of was thinking about as I was watching our last video that just posted on Sunday, and I got to see Shelby's parts, which had me rolling. One of the reasons why I think me and her vibe with this book so much and we love it, well, me personally, I'm not going to speak for Shelby, but why I love it so much is because Katniss starts out strong. I think one of the biggest tropes in writing is the main character, the main female character especially, is very weak, and her growth is, oh, she's not a brat anymore, she's strong. But Katniss starts off very strong. We're seeing her growth, being more caring for others and being more nurturing, which is kind of a different role. Time to finish out the games and see where it goes from here.
Everyone, I am back and I finished the book. Wow. This book has a way of surprising me over and over and over again, and I just got to start reading book 3, so I can't even check in about the end of the book. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. I'm just kidding. I am amazed. I was not expecting that end. Wow. Okay, so I thought it was really, really cool that there's this huge buildup of confusion because Katniss is our narrator. So Katniss feels pain. She's like bleeding out. A hovercraft gets her and she's like, yeah, this is it. I'm about to face the Capitol. Well, who does she face other than Plutarch, the new game maker who showed her the... So she faces Plutarch and she knocks out, and then she wakes up again, freaks out, knocks out, wakes up, she freaks out, knocks out, wakes up, bangs her head, makes her head on the bed, knocks out again. Finally, she wakes up and she's totally healed. She's totally back to normal. She goes into the room and she sees Plutarch Haymitch and Finnick, and they're all sitting together talking, and she's like, what is going on? Well, they tell her the whole rundown that everybody was in on this huge uprising against the Capitol. Plutarch is a mole, and he's been a rebel, and Katniss is like, you didn't tell me any of this, and where's Peeta? And well, Peeta got taken by the Capitol. So what does she do? She scratches Haymitch up. She knocks out, and the next time she opens her eyes, who does she see? It's Gale. I don't know how they got Gale here into this hovercraft or wherever they are. And he tells her District 12 got destroyed. It got bombed, and there's rebellions all over. And guess what? District 13 is real. That's where they got the hovercraft from. The thing is, no matter how long the third book is, it's not going to be long enough. I want more of this story. I want more of these characters. And to think, the whole reason we're doing Hunger Games May is because the new book came out this month. And now that I know how despicable President Snow is, wow, now we get to see a book from his perspective. It's just, I kind of just recapped the entire ending. I didn't really give my thoughts on it. I hope you see by my reactions how I feel. I'm really excited to see what happens in the third book. I want to know. I want to know. As for now, my brain is mush. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. I just want to start on the third book already. In fact, I might. I'm so grateful to anybody who's made it this far in the video. I'm so grateful to anybody who watches our channel. Y'all be safe. Y'all be healthy. And yeah, I'll see y'all in our next video.
Okay guys, so I have finished the book. 5 out of 5 stars. In terms of like favorite, definitely the first one, in my opinion, was better. I feel like there was more action, maybe better paced or faster paced, although this second book is extremely fast paced as well. I guess what I've come to realize is that none of these books have happy endings. Peeta is captured, and District 12 has been wiped off the map, so that's pretty bad. I couldn't remember quite what was the reason for everyone trying to save Peeta, and we learned that that is part of saving Katniss. She's still the leader of the resistance, she's still #1, but they know without Peeta, there's absolutely zero way they're gonna save Katniss. Which is what we come to find, because once she learns Peeta has been captured, which I had forgotten about that. I knew something happened to change him, and I had forgotten he had been captured. I loved one quote in the book where she's thinking about how basically she's going to give her life for Peeta, and she accepts it. So she says, I try to imagine that world, somewhere in the future, with no games, no capital. A place like the meadow in the song I sang to Rue as she died, where Peeta's child could be safe. She wants to imagine there's some place for him in the future and his children. We learned that Plutarch, the new gamekeeper, was part of the resistance, and then you find out District 13 does still exist. So we are going to be jumping into book 3 right after this. You'll be watching this, and then next Sunday will be book 3's book vlog, and then will be our book talk the 1st or 2nd week of June, somewhere around there. So I guess we're just going to find out what's in store for Peeta. And I know Suzanne Collins, in that interview that's in the first book, she does say how the game is still going on in book 3. The arena has changed, but the game is still going on. Now the arena involves everyone in the capital and everyone in the districts. Basically no one's safe. Well, see what happens in book 3. As always, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me and Shelby discuss our opinions. And until next Sunday, guys, may the odds be ever.